Hi everybody, in this video we are going to continue to discuss about the taxonomic categories. We are going to discuss about the taxonomic categories. In the previous videos we already studied about the species and also the genus and also about the families. Okay, we studied about the species, genus and family. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the category called as the order. Okay, category called as the order. So when you look at the previous categories like species, genus and families. Okay, species, genus and families. When you look into these categories, they are all based upon what? The number of similar characters. Okay, they are all based upon the number of similar characteristics. So when you are taking the species, they are individual species where they can interpret among themselves. Okay, they can interpret among themselves. They are having the same fundamental similarities, we say. So then here, as we move to the second category called as the genus, they are not the same. Okay, they are sharing only few characteristics, we say. So like that, as we are moving from the category called as the species to the kingdom, the number of similar characteristics will be decreasing. Okay, the number of similar characteristics will be decreasing. So here, let us remember that species, genus and families, okay, are based upon what? The number of similar characteristics. But now, if you are taking the order, which is a very important point that you have to keep in mind, okay? If you are taking the order, it is the aggregates of characters we are saying. Aggregates of characteristics. Means what? Already we said species, genus and families are based upon what? The number of similar characteristics. But here, when it comes to the order, which is a higher category than all these three, okay? Higher category than all these three, we are saying that it is the aggregates of characters. Aggregates of characteristics means what? We have to look at the number of similar characteristics. Because why we have to look at the number of similar characteristics? One point, okay? We have to remember that is the number of similar characteristics are keep on decreasing as we are moving from species to kingdom. As we are moving from species to kingdom, the number of similar characteristics will be decreasing. So by the time you come to the families, there are many similar characteristics that have decreased. Now you have to identify the number of similar characteristics, and those characteristics which are common, okay, which are common amongst all these will be placed in the order. So in order, aggregates of characteristics means those which are sharing the characteristics similar, less in number, similar, we are keeping them in the order. We are keeping them in the order. So that's the point you have to remember. So here, otherwise we are saying as what? Order is nothing but it is the assemblage of what? Families. Okay, order is nothing but assemblage of families. As we said, the first one, species. Okay, so here if this is A, okay, B, these are all different species. Okay, let me say this is a different species, B is a different species, C is a different species. So here we are keeping those species which are sharing the common characteristics into one genera, and like that D, E, this is another genera. And if you are seeing here now, we said that this is one genera, this is another genera. If they are sharing these similar characteristics, okay, some similar characteristics, we are placing it in one family. Okay, we are placing it in one family. So here are these two placed in one family. Like that, if there are families, okay, if there are families with different genera, okay, having the similar characteristics, we are placing them in the order. We are placing them in the order. So order is nothing but assemblage of families. Assemblage of families which exhibit few similar characteristics. Please remember this, few similar characteristics. So what we have to remember as the sentence is written, remember that the number of characteristics are decreasing. So that's why when we are placing the organisms, okay, in the category called as order, there will be very few similar characteristics. So we have to identify those few similar characteristics and aggregate them into one category. Okay, aggregate them into one category. So based on those few similar characteristics, we are aggregating. So order is done based upon the aggregates of characteristics, aggregation of characteristics. So we have to remember now. So simple point that we have to keep in mind is that order is nothing but assemblage of families, assemblage of families based upon the few characteristics, few similar characteristics. Now the similar characteristics are keep on decreasing in number as compared to what? To different genera. Already we said this, okay? Already we said this. The similar characteristics will be decreasing in number as we compare these characteristics with the above one called as what? Genera, okay? So the number of characteristics, similar characteristics are more in the genera, but when it comes to the order, they are very less. So we have to remember, again I am repeating that point, that we are moving from species to kingdom, the number of similar characteristics are decreasing. So that's what we have to remember. So those are placed in what now? In a family, So similar characteristics are decreased in number as compared to different genera are included in what? In a family, Now, if you are taking for example, okay, if you are taking the examples like plant families, okay, plant families, we know now, you already understood now what is a family or what does the family consist of. Family consists of what? Different genera, okay, different genera. So if you are taking the families now, plant families, there are two which we call them as Convolvulaceae and Solanaceae. Okay, there are two families called as Convolvulaceae and Solanaceae. These two families are sharing few similar characteristics. That's why they are placed in an order called as what? Polynomials. Okay, they are placed in an order called as polynomials. Please remember this. And this is mainly based on floral characters. Very important point you have to keep in mind. Okay, this is a very important point that you have to keep in mind. Okay, please remember this. Convolvulaceae family and Solanaceae family are placed in an order called as polynomials based upon mainly upon what? The floral characteristics. Very important point for your objective part also. Okay, based upon the floral characteristics. Okay, this is very important point. In the same way, if you are looking at the animals, okay, there is an order in the animals. Okay, there is an order in the animals called as what? Carnivora. Okay, there is an order in the animals called as Carnivora. So here in this order called as Carnivora, there are families which are included known as what? Felidae and Canidae. Okay, Felidae and Canidae are the two families which are included in an order called as what? Carnivora. Okay, in an order called as Carnivora, because in the Felidae and in the Canidae, these are containing the genera which are sharing very few similar characteristics. So we understood about the order. Okay, in this video we understood about the order, and in the previous videos we studied about what? Species, genus, family. Okay, species, genus and family. So what is a species? A group of individuals. These individuals are similar individuals with fundamental similarities and which can interbreed freely. That's what we said when we are talking about the species. Okay, when we are talking about the species. And when we are talking about the genus, we said these are a group of related species. Okay, these are a group of related species. Okay, as I already mentioned, say suppose these are one type of species. This is another 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 different type of species. So here, when you are placing it in the genus, a group of related species means if this is a genus, it may be having A, B, and C. Okay, all these A, B, and C are sharing some similar characteristics in common. So that's why we kept it as one genus. And there is another genus, let us say D and E. Okay, these are the two which are sharing similar characteristics in common. So these are two genera where we say that those species which are sharing similar characteristics are placed together. Okay, are placed together. So here genus means what? Group of related species. This is one genus having related species, means sharing similar characteristics. This is another genus sharing similar characteristics. Now in the same way, families, one or more related genera. Okay, so here the number of similar characteristics will be decreasing as we are moving from the species to the kingdom. So family means what? One or more related genera. Means all those which are coming under the families, okay, they may be having the genera which are having less similar characteristics together. This is the family. And today we learned, in this video we learned about the order. Okay, we learned about the order. So what is an order? One or more related families. Okay, one or more related families. And when we are talking about the order, please remember it is the aggregates of characteristics. Because remember this sentence, aggregates of characteristics we are using. Why? Because as we are moving from the species to the kingdom, the number of characteristics are decreasing, and you have to identify those similar characteristics which are common and get them and bring them together and place it in the order. That's what you have to remember. So this is a higher category. Order is a higher taxonomic category than what? Species, genus and family. Okay, species, genus and family. And in the next video we are going to discuss about the class. What is a class? One or more related orders. And followed by we are going to look at phylum division. This is nothing but one or more related class. And the last is the kingdom, which is the highest category with the least specificity. Means less similar characteristics will be seen. More similar characteristics will be seen in the species. So we have to remember one point. As we move from species to kingdom, okay, as we move from species to kingdom, the number of similar characters, okay, number of similar characters decrease, okay, number of similar characters decrease. This is a very important point, okay, this is a very important point we have to keep in mind. And of course, you also remember which is the highest in the taxonomic category. Means there in some reference books you will also come across that after the kingdom there is another category called as domain. Okay, there is another category called as domain, but we are not going to stress on this. Please remember. Okay, we are not going to stress on this, which is called as domain, which comes after the kingdom. Okay, but the basic taxonomic category we have in the basic taxonomic category. Let us remember this. Okay, these points. Okay, these points, and we will discuss much more about this in the next video.